Snow drifted in quiet swirls along the windows of the small café, blurring the streetlights outside and softening the sounds of Christmas Eve. Lena sat at a corner table with her coat still on, her fingers curled around a cup that had long gone cold. She had arrived 20 minutes early for a blind date arranged by a friend, and for 20 minutes she had tried to believe he was just running late. He arrived at last. One look at her, a polite smile, then an awkward clearing of his throat. "I am sorry," he murmured while shifting his weight. "I do not think we will be a good match. I should have been honest earlier." He left before she could find an answer. The bell over the door jingled, then silence pressed in around her. She stared at her reflection in the window, trying not to let tears rise. She told herself it did not matter, but the ache in her chest disagreed. A soft voice broke through her thoughts. "Excuse me. Can we join you?" Lena turned. A little girl stood beside her table, bundled in a pink sweater and holding a stuffed rabbit by one ear. Behind her was a man in a heavy coat with snow clinging to the shoulders. His dark hair was messy as if he had rushed from somewhere important. He looked embarrassed by his daughter's bold approach. "I am so sorry," he said while rubbing the back of his neck. "She likes to meet new people. We can sit somewhere else." "It is all right," Lena said before she could stop herself. The girl's hopeful eyes made it impossible to refuse. "You can sit." The girl slid into the seat across from her and placed her rabbit carefully on the table as if the toy also needed a chair. The father sat more slowly, still unsure if he had made the right choice. "I am Arun," he said. "This is my daughter Mari. I am Lena." Mari beamed as if the introduction alone had made her Christmas. "We were walking home, but Daddy said his hands were freezing. I told him I wanted to come inside. Then I saw you alone and I thought maybe you needed someone to talk to." Lena blinked at her. Children had a way of seeing truths adults tried to hide. "You might be right," she said softly. For a while they talked about harmless things. Mari described her favorite snowman from last winter, her rabbit that always slept on her pillow, and her dream of having hot chocolate with extra cream. Her father listened with a quiet patience that hinted at long practice. There was tiredness in his eyes, but warmth too, the kind that came from loving someone more than himself. Eventually Mari excused herself to study the Christmas ornaments near the counter. The moment she wandered a few tables away, the father's voice took on a more guarded tone. "I hope she did not interrupt anything important." "No," Lena said. "Quite the opposite." He studied her with gentle curiosity. She considered telling him the truth, that she had just been turned down by a stranger who barely looked at her before deciding she was not worth an hour of conversation. But saying it aloud felt like giving the moment too much power. "Just a rough evening," she said instead. "I understand rough evenings," he replied. He glanced toward his daughter who was now speaking to a barista about candy canes. "Mari and I are still getting used to the holidays together. Her mother passed 2 years ago, and this is the first winter she is old enough to understand the missing pieces." Lena felt her breath catch. "I am sorry. That must be difficult." He nodded slowly. "We try to make it gentle. I take her out to see lights. We make small traditions. But today she told me she felt lonely even though I was there. That scared me a little. So I was trying to distract her on the way home." Lena watched the little girl wave at them from the counter, her smile bright enough to lift the whole room. "She seems happy now. She gets attached to people quickly," he said with a faint smile. "She is never afraid to walk toward someone instead of away." Lena felt something warm settle in her chest. Maybe that was what she had been missing all evening. The courage to walk toward something, even if it might not work out. When Mari returned, she was carrying 3 candy canes. "One for you," she said while giving Lena a careful grin. "Because you looked like you needed a sweet thing today." Lena laughed softly and accepted it. Arun looked embarrassed again, but he did not stop his daughter. "Thank you," Lena said. They stayed longer than any of them expected. Snow kept falling outside, and the cafe hummed with the soft murmur of people avoiding the cold. Conversation drifted easily now. Arun talked about the school he taught at. Lena described her work at a local library and her love for quiet winter mornings. Mari filled any silence with stories that made both adults smile. By the time they realized how late it had become, the cafe was preparing to close. Mari had fallen asleep with her cheek against her father's shoulder, her rabbit tucked under her arm. "I should take her home," Arun said in a low voice so he would not wake her. Lena nodded, though a small pang tugged at her. She had not expected the night to unfold like this. Arun hesitated before standing. "Listen," he said. "Tonight was unexpected. But it felt good. If you ever feel like having coffee again, without the chaos of a child climbing over the table, I would like that." Lena's heart warmed. "I would like that too." He smiled in a way that felt sincere and hopeful. "Maybe after Christmas. Or maybe before if the snow lets us." Mari stirred, then opened her eyes. "Daddy," she mumbled. "Can we see her again?" Arun looked at Lena and waited for her answer. "Yes," Lena said softly. "I would like to see you both again." The little girl smiled in her half-sleep and rested her head once more. They left together, walking toward the door as the bell chimed behind them. Outside, the air was crisp and bright, and the snow seemed to glow in the streetlights. Lena stepped into the night with a fullness in her heart she had not expected when she first walked into that cafe. Sometimes all it took was a small voice asking to join you to change everything you thought you knew about loneliness and hope.